G'day guys, John from Making Tracks 4x4, and today we're going to be having a look through on the King's Grand Tourer rooftop tent, doing a bit of a review on that. We're going to be having a look at the good, the bad and the ugly, and there's plenty of each, so sit back, relax, and we'll get stuck into it. So I guess we'll kick off with the good, and I think the first thing off the bat is definitely, and I think that kind of goes for all clamshell rooftop tents like this one, one of the best things that come along with it is how quick and how easy, incredibly easy it is to kind of set it up and pack a bed down. It's literally as simple as flicking two latches and then pushing up the top of the clamp and letting the gas struts take its place. So it's pretty much a less than a 30-second setup. So I think that's one of the big positives with this style of rooftop tent, is that it's so easy and so quick to set it up. You can get to camp, and whether it's late or you're running out of time, you've got to do other things. If you want to leave it down and put it up later, it doesn't matter because it's less than 30 seconds. You flick those latches and it's straight up. So that's definitely one bonus of this rooftop tent. So with the setup of the rooftop tent, you also have this telescopic ladder that comes with it, which is pretty convenient because it folds down and opens up pretty easily. The nice thing about this rooftop tent is that on the side railings you have the option to move around this bar, and what you can do with that bar is it latches to the top of the ladder, so when you're kind of climbing up the ladder or climbing down it or moving it around, it's not kind of rattling off the rooftop tent and kind of making you fall back. It kind of latches in and you stay there. I used to be able to use that, so obviously as a Troop is a pretty tall car, and with the roof rack and then the rooftop tent sitting on top of it, I have 33-inch tyres and a 2-inch lift, and with all that combined, it doesn't, 99% of the time, the ladder from the floor to the latching point won't reach. So I generally just rested on my on my awning on the other side. But when I used to have 31-inch tyres, I used it a bit, and it was really good. It was a nice change from having a kind of ladder that would always shake off. I guess something maybe to consider if it's that big a deal to you, the kind of height of your vehicle, whether or not you want that kind of shaking off the car. This is a very rare circumstance where the ladder actually reaches to the top and is touching the ground, but mostly when we're on, when we're in the dunes or at other campsites kind of with that uneven terrain, it makes it pretty hard for the ladder to come all the way to the bottom. So maybe something that's important to you, not really that important to me, but it is nice to have that latching point. It makes it pretty sturdy. So as I was saying earlier, it's an incredibly easy setup to have on top of your car. You literally you flick your latches and your shell goes straight up, and it's all there done and dusted for you. So if I open it up now, as you can probably see here, I've got bungee cord keeping this down. I'll get to that. That's part of the bad and the ugly. But we'll brush over that now, we'll come back to it. But just looking over it, all I have to do is undo these bits. This latch here just comes up, and the roof just shoots up like that. So it's very easy, very convenient, no stress kind of setup, which is, again, in my opinion, one of the best features about this style of rooftop tent. Another positive of this is the windows and ventilation that this setup gets. You've got obviously your two windows like this one on the side, and then you have one out the back that's just as big, and it kind of looks out all the way out the back. And basically what this allows is, if you want, you can get a heap of ventilation coming through there. You can get a nice breeze, or if you want, you can zip it all up. I think what's good about that is this tent, I've never experienced condensation in this tent. We've had some really cool nights, we've had some hot nights through summer and winter, and we've never really had bad condensation, or a huge build-up of it anyway. I think that's thanks to the design and the kind of ventilation that's allowed to come through the tent. Generally, when we're sleeping in the tent, we'll never zip it up completely, or even have a small amount kind of open at the top. We'll generally have quite a bit of airflow coming in, just to help prevent that. I'm sure if those windows were closed, it would be pretty bad, but we keep it open for that reason, and since then we've never had an issue. So that's pretty awesome. Also, such large windows, you get a pretty wicked view when you're at your campsite. We've just come back from the Pilbara trip, and you know, we'd have this view of a fresh flowing creek running through the campsite and the campfire. So it's pretty spectacular. And even on Esperance, you know, camped up at beaches, we just have these crystal blue waters in this bay open to kind of our viewing. So having such big windows is pretty good. So as far as comfort for the tent goes, the mattress in it is quite a thick, hard mattress. It's not that soft, and I've kind of had mixed thoughts on whether or not I like it. First couple of times I slept in it, I thought I had a great night's sleep, and then quite a few after, I really didn't like it until we put a mattress topper on it, like an eggshell topper, and ever since we did that, I've been having some pretty good sleeps in there. We just ran that through the Pilbara, and that's worked out very well. I had some awesome sleeps in there, and didn't really wake up with a sore hip or sore back or anything like that. So if you are going to do it, I would recommend some kind of mattress topper, just to give you that extra kind of cushioning, because it is a pretty firm mattress. There's not a lot of give in it. So yeah, definitely recommend doing that, especially if you're doing more than a weekend. You know, you're doing a week at a time or something like that. It'll definitely go a long way. As far as putting pillows and doonas and stuff up there, that's also really convenient, just to be able to kind of put that up there, store it away, and you don't have to worry about taking it in, taking it out every time you move camp, and having it in the back of your car taking up space. So that's great. We keep 4 pillows up there, but we find that you kind of got to shift the pillows around when you put it down. Otherwise, putting it down can be pretty hard, but otherwise, if you kind of put it in the middle, all next to each other, it's completely fine. So that's incredibly convenient, having that option available to us. Now, one big thing that I really do like about this rooftop tent is the side awning you can see rolled up there, or more so the ability to be able to roll it up and tuck it away when you're not using it. I do like the fact that there is an awning on there. I think it gives you more options when it's raining, or if it's really hot and you want to kind of keep the water or keep the heat off your tent and off the kind of windows coming into it. We have rarely used it. It's not something we pull out very often, so the fact that you can kind of roll it up like that and tuck it away quite neatly and it stays out of the way, I think it's absolutely awesome. It's just good to be able to have that when you need it. Like I said, we've only used it a couple of times, but when we do need it, it's good to have. Although rare, it's nice to have it there. But yeah, just the fact that we can roll it away and tuck it away is pretty good, very convenient to have. So something else I'd like to add about this rooftop tent is it's actually really spacious, and I don't think that's specific just to Kings. I think that's kind of general for all kind of clamshell rooftop tents like this. But yeah, with this one, it's just there's so much space, and it gives you a lot more options when kind of you want to move around, and if you want to get changed and stuff up here, then there's a lot more room for it. Or even sitting up. I had a few coffees up here on our previous trip, and it worked out great, and you get an awesome view sitting out the back as well. So again, yeah, looking around, you can see that there is quite a lot of space, and that's just another thing that I really do like about it. Alrighty, so now that we've looked at the good things that I've gone through, we'll have a look at a couple of the bad and a few of the ugly things. So I think first off the block, I'm going to start off with the 2 gas struts that come with the rooftop tent. They're not very strong. They have been known to rust out a bit, and they do make a fair bit of noise, bit of whinging when they come up. And I have noticed that over time they have lost their kind of strength in putting up the rooftop tent. It kind of struggles to go up until you kind of push it up enough that'll eventually take off. Yeah, so definitely not too great there, but I mean it's not a huge negative, but I mean it's only been a few months, so a couple of years or a year down the track, you never know. Just one thing with the mattress, it is quite thick, but it's very firm, and also it can be quite hard to wrap sheets and stuff around it, because it kind of sits under the clamshell of the rooftop tent, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of, you got your mattress, and then you got your kind of metal bracket that sits over the top of it, and it kind of slides in under. So when you're trying to wrap sheets or something around it like that, you've kind of got to slide your fingers under it and peel it back, it's very tight under there, so it's pretty difficult. And trying to do that myself a couple months back, as I was pulling it up, it kind of ripped on the actual housing of the tent, so it's just something you got to be careful with there. So just looking at the awning, I think that when I was talking about wind earlier, and we said we'd roll it away if it was windy, that's generally what we would do. But what they have on them, on the edge of the awning, they've got these zips on them for kind of an extension of another awning, and those zips will rattle and make a lot of noise, even in a just pretty basic amount of wind. That's probably one of the reasons why we don't have it out too often. It's because they will rattle a lot and shake a lot and make a lot of noise. If it's not windy, it's not a problem, obviously, but yeah, even with a little bit of wind, they do make a bit of noise. So it's just easier for us to tuck it away like that and not have to deal with it at all. So one of the major negatives I've had with this rooftop tent is the lining, the kind of carpet lining and insulation lining that sits on top of it. This tent here that's sitting on there is actually the 3rd rooftop tent that I've had, or the 3rd Grand Tourer rooftop tent that I've sitting on there, and the past 2 that I've taken back have been taken back for that exact reason. Basically what's happened is the glue that they've used is a really poor quality, and it took literally maybe 2 weeks, if that, after we bought it, for it to kind of start disconnecting from the actual roof, and for the carpet to kind of come off the insulation, and then the insulation's kind of just dropped off the roof as well. So you've just kind of got this bare roof, and it's got glue crap everywhere, and your carpet and your insulation just flop down on your bed. Frustratingly, that happened on our last tent while we were on midway through our Esperance trip. So we kind of had to wedge a pole between the bottom of the tent and the lining to kind of keep it up while we were sleeping. Not the most convenient thing, but I mean, got the job done. Now we've got a new one on here. The good thing about this is that they've changed it a bit. I'm not sure exactly what they've done, but now I've had this one, the 3rd one, I've had it on for probably three or 4 months now, and I'm pretty stoked to say that no insulation or carpet has fallen on me while I've been sleeping, or while we've gotten to camp. I've opened it up and it's on the doona. It hasn't happened. It's still up there. It looks fine. It looks like it's going to be fine. I hope it is, but again, it's only been a couple months, so fingers crossed. Hopefully it doesn't come down, but that seems to be one of the things I have fixed, because I did do a bit of not a recall, but they've kind of upgraded it and they've given it a new name. They've called it the MK2 or something, and kind of have rebranded it like that. But this seems to be going fine. Gladly nothing like that has happened yet. And just on that note, I'm going to jump over to water and kind of its ability, or better yet, its inability to keep water out, or what it was. So again, on the first and second rooftop Grand Tour rooftop tent that I had on there, on multiple occasions I've had rain coming through the rooftop tent. A lot of people I've seen online think it's from the bolting holes on top of the roof of the rooftop tent, but I don't actually think that's the case, because on all of the occasions that I have had water come through, it's always seeped through from the front, and the front of the mattress has been really wet. So I think it's actually come through from from a lack of waterproofing. It's just kind of fan forced when you're driving into the rain, especially. It's kind of forced through the gap and then into the tent, which was a huge shame, pulling up to camp a couple of times and having a bit of a wet bed. But yeah, I guess it's one of those things. But again, pretty stoked to say that now they've also changed, along with the roof, they've improved the front of it, where they've actually put an extra rubber strip on the front. Doesn't look like it would do much, but we are pretty well into winter now, and I've driven in a lot of heavy downpours, and the car's just been sitting in a lot of heavy downpours, and there's been not even a single drop of water has come through. So big difference there, and I'm pretty stoked with that, because that was definitely one of the big ugly things that I really didn't like about this tent. So now that they fixed that, that's pretty stoked with that. I don't know if that's just me or if other people are still having issues with that, but I can happily say that on this one, no water has come through. And just, I guess, looking at that, we've just come from the Pilbara, and there's actually been, I was keen to see how that would come through with dust, especially the really fine red dust that's up there, and even then there's been absolutely no dust there. So that's a positive thing that I've kind of brought over to the negatives. But just on that note, it used to be pretty bad there, but it's now improved quite a lot. So that was really good to see. Just on the note of that extra rubber seal that's kind of gone on the front of the rooftop tent there, that I sort of stopped water coming in, I've actually just gone and inspected it, and I've noticed that even that is now starting to become detached from the actual tent itself. The glue's kind of giving way. I'll jump up and I'll show you guys, but there you go, you can see it along there. It's just detaching there, it's just completely coming undone, and that's only a couple of months of having it on, so that was a pretty disappointing discovery. Not what I wanted to see. I could probably find something to glue that on myself, but I mean, so there we go. Okay, so something else that really frustrated me with this rooftop tent recently is these latches on the rooftop tent here, which keep it sealed down and keep it down when you're on the road. While we were in the Pilbara recently, I just got back from that, over a few corrugations on the trip coming back off a road. This part here, this kind of wiggly bit, just completely detached from the tent and fell off in the corrugations. These, you can maybe see here, are they're just very fragile, and it's just popped out of the casing there and fallen off completely. Very, very poor design there. You can see it here. You can see there that it's just completely come out of these holes here and just fallen off. So I wasn't too impressed with that, and as a result of that, dust and water and shit has come through since that's happened. So not very stoked with that. I will probably replace these, and obviously the other one, with a much more heavy duty kind of clamp, just take these out, and hopefully it's as easy as that, but I'll find out when I come to do it. But yeah, no, at the moment what I'm using is just this bungee strap here to kind of keep it down as much as I can, while I'm kind of in transit trying to find a new piece for it. So yeah, not great there. It was pretty disappointing, especially kind of mid-trip, being such a dusty trip as well, and a bit of rain coming through. So yeah, not the best. So overall with this rooftop tent, it's kind of been the experience so far has kind of been a love-hate relationship. It's been really nice in some areas, and then a big letdown in some other areas. And those kind of letdowns have come while we're in the middle of some bigger camping trips, which makes it even worse. But it's, one thing to really consider here is that there is quite a big price difference between the King's rooftop tent, clamshell rooftop tent, and your more expensive brands. You're probably looking at half the price of your more expensive competitors on this one. And that's great, and I mean, that really appealed to me. Being a full-time uni student, you know, those bigger, more expensive brands, as much as I'd love to stick one of them on top of the car, the price range is just far too out of mind. So when, you know, Kings came out with their one with like half the price, it was great, but it's certainly come at a cost. It's definitely, I've noticed, a much cheaper kind of build. There's not a whole lot of quality to it. Some bits are really good, and then, you know, your more important bits, I guess, aren't. It has let in a lot of water in the past. Latches and things like that have broken. I don't know when the gas struts will give out. It's kind of one of those things that I can't really see 1 or 2 years down the track holding its value and its quality, with all the things that have gone wrong so quickly in such a short period of time. But again, it was kind of the cheaper price tag that allowed me to get that, and I do really like the clamshell kind of lifestyle that it gives you while camping. I really like the fact that it's super easy to camp in and set up. You can leave all your stuff up there. It's incredibly easy to pop up, and it acts as a kind of mounting system as well. I got my roof, my solar panel working up there, and a light bar working with it. So it's been good and bad. I guess the price tag's just something you need to consider, whether or not you want to get this and kind of have the prospect of issues coming up now and then, or whether you want to kind of hold on to that money and save for something a bit more. Obviously it would be pretty nice to have a pretty expensive clamshell rooftop tent on there, but it's not exactly viable from my point of view, so went with that. And again, like I said, I love the camping lifestyle it gives me, and that's why I've gone with that, and I'm going to stick with it and just kind of keep working with it and trying to fix things. Hopefully things that can be fixed, I'll fix, and go from there. Would I recommend this product to anyone else? Well, that's a tough one, because I have had so many issues with it, and then again, I've also really enjoyed kind of having that on my tent. So as far as the King's Grand Tour specific goes, as it stands, no, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I've been incredibly patient with it. I've taken it off and I've put it on the roof 3 times and another 3 times, and it's been quite a lot of work kind of fixing things that come up, and I guess you kind of do get that when you pay a lot less for it, and I kind of expected that. But if you're not willing to do that, if you just want to buy it, have it on there and not have to worry about it and put accessories on it, then probably not. If you're willing to kind of have that cheaper option and work with it, then absolutely go for it. And that was my point of view. It was cheaper and I could work on it, and I still will, hopefully, if it survives. So, like, it's completely up to you and your budget options, but that's just my point of view on it. and that's something you need to decide whether or not you kind of want or don't want, and whether or not you want to spend more money for that kind of quality. So it's, again, it's a completely optional choice, up to you. But yeah, so oh well. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please post them below, and I'll, as quickly as I can, answer them for you. Hopefully help you out as much as you can if you're thinking of getting one of these. So yeah, shoot a question below, just ask me what you need, and I'll more than happily answer it for you. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Cheers for that. Take it easy.